Okay, folks. So happy Tuesday. Welcome to the example section. By this point, your notes should be impeccable. I'm going to show you what your notes should look like because to have gotten to this video, that means that you 100% got to the other one. Pause. All right, so now we are looking at example one. Here I have an example of a rectangular prism. How do I know it's a rectangular prism? Well, the base, which we can see up here is at the top and at the bottom, is a rectangle. It is 5 blocks wide, 4 blocks long or deep, depending on how you want to look at it. And then this rectangle, this rectangular prism, I will say, is 3 blocks high. So I'm going to switch over back to my board so we can look at how we would answer a problem like this. So first thing I want you guys to notice is that I, like you should have, put my own version, a sketch of what this problem looks like. Make sure there's no glare. Okay. Of what this problem looks like. And yeah, that's better. And we're going to approach every step of this question each way. The first thing I want to do is I want to find the area of the base. The base is what we can think of, this rectangle that's at the bottom, 5 by 4. But what also we know is that the top is also a base, which also has the same, so you think about the base being this blue part that I'm shading in. We want to find the area of this blue part. What is the area for just that part up top? We know that it is 5 blocks wide and 4 blocks long. And so if we wanted to do that, we would say volume equals 5 times 4. No. Here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to write the equation first, then plug it in, and then solve it. So when I show you, when you see the right answers, after you've hit submit, you want to check your work. I'm going to do it that way. It's going to be the equation plugged in and then solve. So I'm thinking about area. I want to know the area. Area is base times height, and then I plug it in. Area is 5 times 4. Area is 20 units squared. Then the question is going to ask me, what is the height of this? What is the height of this rectangular prism? I know that it's 3 units high. H equals 3 units. H is for height, 3 units. And then if we want to know the volume, how much space or how much would it take to fill up this rectangular prism? I'm going to go back to my original equation. Base times height. I know that my base is 20 units. And then I'm multiplying it times my height, which is 3 units. Again, I'm just in the habit of writing my formula and then plugging it in. Volumes equals base times height. And then I plug it in. Volume equals 20 times 3. Volume equals 60 cubic units. Units to the 3rd power. This is how you answer that first question. I'm going to set up for the second one. Actually, I'm going to just kind of put this in here. So we're looking at this rectangular prism, rectangular base, rectangular sides, rectangular prism. What is the plane formed if we slice parallel to its base? If we were to slice parallel to the base, we would be kind of cutting this like we were shaving off a layer off the top or in the middle. We would get a rectangle. What is the area of the plane figure? We know that the area is 20 units. We'll say 20 square units. How many cubic units high is this figure? We want to know what is the height of the figure. And we know that the figure is 3 blocks high. And then this is what we have to kind of take everything that we've learned. What is the volume? What is the base times the height? The volume is 60 cubic units. Sometimes it's inches, sometimes it's meters, sometimes it's miles, feet. You want to always make sure that you put cubic units because that's just showing that you're talking about volume and not about area or not about just like regular distance. Just want to stop that. All right, so what I have here, Jerry just purchased a sandbox and needs to fill it with sand so that his dog can use it to play. The dimensions of the sandbox are 5.6 feet by 3.2 feet by 8.1. I'm first just going to start off by like writing a little section over here that just lists off my dimensions. My length, which I can signify using L, is 5.6. My width is 3.2. And my height or my depth, depending on what you want to call it, is 8.1. All right. And we're trying to figure out how much sand this sandbox will hold. So I'm going to come back over here just so I show that work. This is what your notebook should look like. Some of you might even want to kind of like draw your own visualization of a sandbox. Here, mine's going to look a little ghetto. But here's the sandbox, and I'm saying that it is 5.6 by 3.2 by 8.1. And I want to know how much sand it's going to take, how much cubic, like what's the cubic volume to fill this thing up based on the dimensions that I have. I'm going to start off by writing my formula. Volume equals length times width times height. And I'm going to start plugging in the information that I have. 5.6 times 3.2 times 8.1. Now, you could throw all this multiplication in the calculator if you want. The important thing is to just make sure that your work makes sense. If you were doing this on like step-by-step basis, then you would just multiply whatever order that you would want to do. Hey Siri, what is 5.6 times 3.2? Hey Siri, what is 5.6 times 3.2?
It's 17.92.
So yeah, I have 17.92. And I'm multiplying that times 8.1. Hey Siri, what is 17.92 times 8.1?
The answer is 145.152.
145.152. This problem says that we need to round it to the nearest something. We'll say feet to the third power. That does not look like an F. Okay. So the answer is 145.152 feet to the third power. When we put that answer inside of our Google Doc, we're obviously going to round it up to the nearest whole number. And with 1.5.1, our nearest whole number is 145. So the answer that I'm going to put is going to be 145 cubic feet. Now, this next question is just taking our understanding and moving it a step further. We're talking about Jerry has, how much does he have to pay if a small bag of sand that holds 25 cubic inches costs $109 each? So, again, I'm going to come out. I'm going to write down that information here. I know that the volume is 145. And his bags are $25 or $1.09 for 25 pounds of sand. Now it's the fun part where we kind of get to go back to doing something that we love to do, which is like using ratios and using proportions to be able to answer this question. So what I do know is that he's getting pounds per dollar. And right now he has 25 pounds, and each 25 pounds costs him 109. And we're saying that we're going to multiply that times 145 cubic pounds. And we want to know how much that's going to cost. So basically what we need to do is figure out how many pounds, or how many bags he needs to buy and how much that's going to cost. So we could do it this way, or I could just take 145 and I could divide it by 25. What I know is that I'm basically just going to have to get 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150. I have to get at least 145, which means I need to buy 6 bags So instead of doing all of this work, which like is kind of unnecessary now that I think about it, you would know that he just needs to buy 6, because if he needs 145 pounds, he has to buy 6 so that he's going to have like a few extra pounds of sand left over. So we know he needs 6 bags, and then we multiply $1.09 times 6 bags, 54, draw my 4, carry my 5, $6.54 is what he's going to pay. Hey Siri, what's 1.09 times 6?
It's 6.54 times 6 is 6.54.
You see it. My math is good. So I'm just gonna go back over here so you guys can kind of see, just like seeing this through all the way, not putting in any lazy answers. I'm gonna put $6.54. $6.54 is what he would need to pay. So when you're going to these questions for your practice problems, I want you guys to pay attention to one. I've given you the 2 formulas that you're going to use, both of which are the same thing. The one to the right is once you've already know or found the area to your base. But this is the most universal volume formula that people use. And take your time, actually answer these questions in full. You guys can do it. I believe in you. Make me proud. All right.